Hey there, Greg with Boom Up Engineering, and here we've got the ISC UltraLink. I've been seeing just a few videos with it out there. I mean, this thing's been out for months, and I've been using it for a couple months. But anyway, I figured I'd do a little closer look, at least for what I've been using it for, and see if anybody else has been using it much. See what you guys think. I guess I like it. I mean, I bought it for a reason. You know, I've been using the Quickie since I got into climbing. You know, it's a nice compact shackle shaped piece of hardware with a lot of uses. You know, it's fairly much bomb proof. I just wasn't the biggest fan of the slick pins and trying to get these little feet pressed in with you know, the thumbnail or fingernail. And so I figured, well, we'd try the ISC UltraLink. Again, nothing wrong with the Notch Quickie or the Singing Tree version. With price increases of the Quickie, Quickie is getting a little bit expensive, and the the Singing Tree is even more expensive. But I guess the Singing Tree and the ISC UltraLink are about the same price. But anyway, you can see here that when I've been messing with ways to protect the aluminum of the unisender from you know, having a shackle or this UltraLink in there and rubbing on it and wallering it out. So that's a Petzl, I don't know what they call it, but like a configuration aid to help keep things oriented properly. I think that came with my Petzl Adjust, and I guess I don't really know what it's for. Maybe just to keep a shackle in a certain orientation in the Adjust. But anyway, this is the first setup I tried with my Monkey Beaver harness and the adjustable bridge on there, and feeding it through the UltraLink. So this spool here, I mean, it's bushed and just rides on the pin of the UltraLink. And to be honest, I don't really desire the reduced friction at my bridge. I mean, some people might, and I don't. I like having a little bit of friction there, so I'm not rotating in my saddle too easily. But anyway, you know, a spool is more rope friendly. The bigger diameter you bend the rope around, the stronger it is, and the less it's going to wear over time. So I tried this, and 100% of the time, didn't take long, but eventually you'll find yourself to where you're side loading the UltraLink. The spool, especially with the spool in here, the rope would seek out that junction between the bow of the UltraLink and that spool, and it'd always be like this. And then so I tried it without the spool. And to open this UltraLink, you got this little spring-loaded button. You have to push it down inside this shrouded recess to be able to push down that button far enough so that you can clear the moon-shaped cutout in the pin, so you can rotate the pin. So we'll push that button down, rotate the pin counterclockwise as you're looking at it, at least from this direction. Pull the pin out. The pin's trapped, just like the UltraLink. You know, it's trapped. One thing though is you got 100% opening. You know, it goes all the way across, so it's pretty near flush with the shackle ear. So maybe that's kind of nice in some cases. Obviously necessary if you're getting a spool in and out. So when I tried it without the spool, I could say, well, I think it was a bit better, but still, every time I'd eventually be climbing, and you know, the shackle is side loaded like that. So you almost need to have a way to perhaps have spacers on here to keep your rope centered so this is pulling straight, or yeah, I'm not sure what. I guess probably what I was going to try next is just do away with this rubber bushing. I couldn't really get it to work quite right, but the cutout in the unisenders, it's straight through. I mean, there's radius corners on both sides, but it's pretty straight, so it fits a straight pin pretty well. So I'll probably just go back to putting the UltraLink pin right to the unisender, yeah, that could potentially get a little bit off kilter, but it's not as bad. And I could come up with a way, maybe to make a bobbin or something, or kind of like reduce the whole size of this with some UHMW plastic, or probably at the very least I might put some fuel line or something on this pin, something where the pin still slides in and out halfway easy, but kind of takes out some of the slop and prevents the metal to metal contact. I know it's probably not necessary, but just some things I like to do to try to keep things nice. So let's just overlay the UltraLink with the Quickie. You know, they're essentially the same size. You know, I'm sure there's a reason why they're the same size. I'm sure ISC knew they didn't have to reinvent the wheel. That this notch Quickie is very popular, or the singing tree version. So there was no reason to come out with something, you know, crazy different. And so, yeah, size-wise, they're pretty similar. The ISC UltraLink, they have two versions. This is the small version, but they do make a bigger size where the bow bulges out on both sides. It is symmetrical and it bulges out, so you've got more room to, for example, maybe have a couple ropes coming off of it at angles, or you could more easily fit a web in there. I don't know all the reasons for it, but it just gives you more space to make connections in the bow. So the reason I bought the UltraLink and wanted to try it, I guess there was a couple reasons. I know it's got a nice rounded profile here, so it's very rope friendly. And I knew I wanted to use it on my bridge and possibly have a rope bearing directly on it, so that's why I wanted that. The notch Quickie, it's got radius edges, but not like the UltraLink. Try to hold these up halfway decent, but you can see how it's a bit sharper there. So that's definitely not ideal to have a rope bridge running through there back and forth all the time. But the other issue is just mostly with the slick pin. You know, these little spring-loaded feet or whatever you call them. Just for me, kind of a pain in the butt sometimes trying to get those pushed in and then get the pin to slide through with that foot still pushed in enough to get it to catch, and then continue to push it. You got to do it twice, and then, you know, it's not all the way through, so you might have to push that one again and get this thing most of the way open. So it's just mostly a convenience thing for me. I figured this would be an easier setup to use for opening and closing. And this is very similar to this ISC block, where, you know, it's the exact same thing, where you've got a spring-loaded button that you got to push in to be able to turn the pin. The only difference I can see, and I don't know if this was part of Rev 2, is putting this shroud around the pin, or a more pronounced shroud around the push button to keep it from getting accidentally pushed. You know, here, this pulley doesn't have a shroud, so it's a lot easier to push that button and turn. Something, I guess, maybe could come across there and accidentally push that in, and the pin could get turned or something. But anyway, the initial recall had something to do with I think it was too easy to open this shackle, or they decided it was too easy, so they made some changes and promptly put it back out on the market. So version 2. But that's about all I've got. I just figured I would try to show a couple different products here. The ISC, it's actually rated stronger, and, you know, it's dual rated. You know, it's 40 kilonewtons in a straight pull, or 50 kilonewtons in a straight pull with the spool. But on the side load, it's good for 25, you know, braking strength. Whereas the notch Quickie, I think the notch is a little bit less than the singing tree. I think the notch is 13 kilonewtons and the singing tree is 15 kilonewtons. And then on the major axis, it's 30 kilonewtons for both of them, I believe. You know, double check me on those numbers. Yeah, I'm looking online. That's what they say. So the notch Quickie and the singing tree Quickie are pretty similar pretty much the same, but like say the ISC UltraLink, it's more favorable, and I suppose the side loading is probably better. I don't think it's necessarily because it's got more stainless steel in the bow. I think it's more so the pin design. You know, this is a more substantial keeper at the end of the pin there. You know, it's got a double-headed, I don't know, notch or something, or key. You know, you turn it 90 degrees and it engages the shackle here over there, whereas Notch Quickie, again, just has these little detent spring-loaded feet that engage the sides of the shackle. So if you have a much better pin engagement here, pin lock, when you side load this, you know, it's going to be supported on this side and this side of your pulling force, and that's going to be stronger. So yeah, kind of interesting. I'm probably going to order more of these. They're not exactly cheap. I guess I look for sales, but I'm probably going to order them from over in Europe. Sometimes you can get this ISC gear and some of these things cheaper over there, and then they have other items that we don't typically have over here. So every once in a while I order something from Europe and pay your shipping, and I haven't had to pay any duties or import taxes or anything. So it's pretty painless, and sometimes it comes pretty quick, you know, within a couple weeks or less. So anyway, any comments, questions, and concerns, just leave me a note below, and I usually respond. Yeah, guys, have a good night.